Welcome back, everyone. Tatiana, you have been slightly interrupted in your attempt to automatically write as the locals, Jensine and her brothers, have attempted to scare the party away from.
None of my party's bleeding. It's fine.
And as they taunt and walk away, you settle back down to your writing. And the same process as before, you begin to consciously write. And I suspect that Trish and Edward and Ernst are somewhat interested in seeing this. To a certain extent, I know, also somewhat interested to move forward. So they're looking around, looking to see where the trio have taken off to. So part of their attention is divided away from what you're doing. The
So
writing, yeah, go ahead.
I don't think she stopped writing even during the combat. She
Ah,
was just still doing it, and then just like things tried to pull her out of it, and she's just like, "Oh, that's not one of my companions' heads. That's fine.
yes, the
Oh,
sheep's head was a thing.
that's my party is fine. We're not actually doing that. She's swinging an axe, but she's not coming in here. Okay."
Excellent, excellent. When quiet comes to the graveyard, I think that's when you're able to fully allow yourself to get immersed in. And as before, you're you're letting it go, and you descend. Your hand and your arm begin the writing. You're vaguely aware of it, but you yourself are conscious. Unlike last time, where you were feeling like in a pleasant, it was a pleasant memory. It was a pleasant scenario that you were in, kind of a dream state. This time, the state that you're in as the writing happens is uncharacteristically combative to a certain extent. It feels like the area that you're in just has a bad energy to it. It's hard to find onto something that's pleasant and calming. And you're still consciously aware of the writing, but you're also aware that to a certain extent your hand and your arm are starting to like ache under, like you've held on to something for too long, something that was too heavy. Um, and I don't think it requires a roll, but I think that it 2 to 3 minutes into this, um, I suppose, I suppose Trish is probably the most interested of the three in what exactly is Tatiana is doing. Trish, as Tatiana's writing, the paper that she's writing on, where the ink touches, begins to smoke. And it's smoking, you think to a certain extent, because it's weird. It looks like Tatiana's hand is really pressing hard against the paper. The paper isn't tearing, however, but there is smoke that is coming off of the page. And you look over her shoulder, and what she's drawing is she's drawing words. She's putting a box around it, and then it starts to smoke and burn away. And she writes another series of words and puts a box around it, and it burns and smokes away. You can smell the smoke and see it, but the paper isn't burning itself. And some of the words are words that are very familiar to you. Tatiana writes about um, bringing peace for the nameless one, but then that burns away. And uh, Sandeman's journal will look great in our library, but then again, that burns away. And it's very clear this time to see what Tatiana's writing as opposed to the last time, which was much more a very abstract thing. It was very difficult to see what Tatiana said was there. And in another minute or two, Tatiana, you come out of this state and your hand aches and your arm aches, but you've written nothing on the paper as far as you can tell.
Do I remember what I was trying to write or just that it kept coming away from me?
It was difficult to know exactly what you wrote. You know that it was very stressful. It was something that really pushed your physical limits. It felt like you were trying, I mean, from your perspective, it kind of feels like you were starting a fire with one of those old, bow and dowels.
Um,
But you're disappointed. You look at the paper and there's nothing there.
in the past I have with my family, is this anything, would anything similar have happened in the past?
Let's do a roll. I have a feeling. Let's make this yeah, I think this is the best roll here is going to be learning.
Okay. Ugh. I can use my inspiration, right?
You can. That would be 2 more dice. So you can just roll 2 dice.
Okay. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Ah, that is way too many.
Oh, whoops.
That's a lot. That's a lot of 5s.
Roll physical dice. Damn. Okay. I tried.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know that you wrote things. Your pen has less ink in it than it did before. You know that something was there.
When she was writing, what was her state? Like she was in a trance, right?
Yeah, she's got that very she's got the very classic trance sort of thing. Eyes are closed, the body's leaning back, and the hands are just again automatically doing their thing.
And this is something Trish has seen her do before, right?
I don't know. Tatiana has because I don't think Trish was there for the boat ride, automatic writing. So you tell me, Tatiana, if Trish has seen this before.
I think Trish has seen this before, and I think there are certain things in Tatiana's past that she's not allowed to remember or communicate that would have made storytime interesting in the cathedral during their storytime meetups.
Once Tatiana comes to and they seem upset, they're looking at their pages and they're not seeing, she's not seeing anything. Trish is going to take their hand and put it on Tatiana's hand and say, "You were doing it. It's okay. I saw it, the smoke."
It's just like, and her mouth is going to open. It's just like that uncle I can't tell you about, right?
Right. But you can write it.
I hate that man. How is he doing this to me from here? And she's just going to completely misinterpret what happened.
So at that point,
you've got this.
Yeah.
Tati, don't worry. You've got this. Just breathe and focus.
So I suspect Tatiana starts to, so I suspect you put your writing materials away and it's time to make a decision on where we're going.
Before we leave, Tatiana is going to gather a handful of graveyard dust from the grave and put it in her pocket. She's trying not to be obvious about it, but she's not trying to obviously hide it either. So she's trying to be non-obtrusive of just like dusting herself off, and then as she's dusting herself off, put it in her bucket. But
Got it. Absolutely.
so I'm certain she looks super awkward while she does it because she's trying to be stealthy, but not actually going to roll for it because she's
Got it.
not stealthy.
All right. Edvard and Ernst, it's clear that Tatiana is packing things up.
All right. Where should we go from here?
We need to find the woman who's been leaving the flowers on the grave here. The grandmother of that child.
Hmm.
Yeah. Could we
Okay.
go to the house?
I
That would be
believe
Yeah.
I
do think
believe
that
the
is-
Huss is our next destination, yes.
Excellent.
I fear our welcome may not be a warm one.
All right. The day is wearing on into afternoon. It's a bit of a hike. The distance from the Plague Cemetery to Grimstead Huss is about the same as it is from the Plague Cemetery to the Moorland camp. And as you consult the map, you also realize there's no direct shot from Grimstead Huss to the Moorland Society camp. It will cross the bog. So it will probably be quite late in the evening if you choose to either A, leave Grimstead Huss, go back to the Plague Cemetery, then go back to the Society camp, or B, make a straight shot for the tavern. They're both about the same distance. And I think that that's something that, Edvard, you would know as you're looking at the sky and the time, and you're looking at the map and saying to yourself,
Yeah.
if we
And
go
I'll just
if we go to Grimstead Huss, we're running into potentially a time issue with nighttime.
Yeah. It's like it'll be pretty late when we're done there, I'm assuming. If we really want to go back to the camp, we can, or we can spend the same amount of time and just go back to the inn tavern.
Dear God, yes. Let's
I feel
return to the
like-
tavern.
I feel like it would be nice to go back to a tavern. We could talk to some locals and get their opinions, get their perspective.
Hmm.
So far, all we've talked to is the guy who's running this company.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. All right. So you begin to make your way to the north. From where you're at, you're going northeast, following a very, again, proper path. Probably was a game trail at one point, and then worked by human hands into a respectable path. And it's several kilometers, again, like the distance from the society to the cemetery. So we're talking, I don't know, 2 or 3 kilometers from the Plague Cemetery to Grimstead Huss. So our marching order is what again for this one? I'm curious to see who's at the front.
Trish is leading the way.
Fantastic.
As always. And
Got
I
those
think
spry young
Edvard,
legs.
Edvard, like, kind of, after spending a lot of time with Trish, is like, seeing Trish throw some punches. So
Mm.
like, they can handle themselves. I will take the rear echelon. Like, our two
Oh,
probably squishier people can be in the
Yeah, protect the squishies.
I'll be behind Trish, calling out any spots in the moor that look treacherous that they might wander into.
Is Trish like actively, I don't know, navigating survival style, or are you
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
are you leading
I'm-
like a are you leading like the person who leads a grand parade? Are you twirling a baton? And I'm just curious, Trish. What does that look like?
I mean, a bit of both, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely putting on a show for everybody because,
Mm.
like, I want them to know that, like, I'm not scared, even though I was scared of that bird. Whatever, it's just a bird, just a big scary bird.
Right.
I mean, I know what it looks like now, so I can definitely keep an eye out for another bird
Fantastic.
or scary lady with a giant cleaver or whatever. It's not like I'm scared or something. God.
Ernst says that Ernst is looking for the issues of the Moor. So Tatiana, what do you focus on as you are walking along the trail?
Tatiana is aware she has limited space, but she's also aware that the farther we get from the camp, the more natural the ground and the environment is. And so she's looking for like the best 3 pieces of heather, the best 3 pieces of the reeds, and just trying to have a very fine but very thorough collection of the plants in the area. And if there's any bird feathers or something like that, she's looking for those as well.
Excellent. Very
So
good.
I imagine Edward is a little frustrated being at the back because she's pausing all the time and turning around and taking things out of her pocket and examining them. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, cool.
I mean, as long as you guys are staying with it, as long as you're staying within eyesight of everyone else, Edvard's actually like, well, she's doing that. I'm gonna look over there. Got any of those? Any more
binoculars?
It's like just keeping track to make sure we're not getting ambushed or something.
Absolutely.
Don't want another
Oh, yeah.
sheep's head thrown at us,
Yep.
at least without our knowing it.
That's guy can't have any fun around here, huh?
No.
Fantastic. So we're going, because of how things have been going on and because of shenanigans, about halfway through the walk, where you're walking past a spring that forms a creek that, according to your map, takes off for the west. And because all of you are looking at your environment and such, I'm going to be curious to find out if you pass a vigilance test at this point. Now, because of what you're looking for, the 2 people in back, this would be Tatiana and Edward. This, unfortunately, is going to be at a -1.
Okay. Well, since it looks like I do want to use my thingy.
Got it.
I get a +2 vigilance
Yeah.
for surveying the land.
Yep.
And can I use the binoculars to see what's coming?
No, this is very much not a binocular range vigilance.
Okay.
Why did I
So
only
that
get?
is just a +1 then.
Not sure if mine worked or not.
I automatically fail because I am still frightened
Oh,
and
okay.
hopeless.
I got a success.
2 conditions. So, Tatiana, do you take a moment to comfort yourself with your trinket at all, or as you're walking? Do you know?
I did that in the morning when we left the tavern.
Ah, you have used your excellent, very good.
Yes, I have burned my points this mystery.
Excellent. So Ernst and it looks like Ernst, Trish, and Edward are all successful in this, with an
Very
extra bonus from Ernst. Very
Sure.
good. So the tracks on the trail that are clearly the tracks of the Jensen trio take a sharp right and wander off the trail and make their way back around a hill in the direction of the Moorland Society camp. And that's the extra bit of bonus that Ernst gets with the extra bonus. Is it Ernst? You kind of get a sense of their heading.
All right, I'm going to draw this to the group's attention. What do you make of this? Do you think they're going back there to conduct more sabotage right now?
Oh, they're for sure under some mischief.
Probably.
For sure. I guess question is, would you like me to follow them and raise an alarm once we get close to the Moorland Society so that we at least have some corporeal patsies to explain these happenings?
Hmm.
Well, uncouth as they are, I can't say that I blame them. The
No,
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
want
Moorland
them
either.
to get in
Society
trouble.
has
Kind of
not
come into their land
earned
and-
my love.
No, I would agree, but
We would
keep
also
our-
like to get paid for this job, and I don't think he's going to care for the truth that we're uncovering here.
Yeah, he's not going to pay attention to anything. So at this point, we have a group of 3 braggarts causing trouble with a bunch of people we don't like. So 3 people we don't like are causing troubles for people we don't like who are paying us.
They do make an excellent scapegoat. That is
That was my
certain.
thinking.
I mislike it, but I believe you're correct.
All right. So I will take a little, kind of looks like an old, really old, worn out parchment and just kind of put it in back in my pocket. And that is my interaction to get rid of a mental condition.
Excellent. You have put your game face on, and your military training takes over,
Yep.
and you are able to.
And actually, I have a hunting equipment, so I think I could actually, that might actually be useful. Plus 2 to investigation in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, Edward, you are going to track the Jensens, if I hear you correctly. Correct?
That is correct.
Excellent. I think let's stay with Edward then. You begin the process of tracking them, and it doesn't take long for you as you're walking to realize that they have an advantage. They have navigated this land for some time, and the first time that you don't really follow exactly where they go, your foot hits what looks like a patch of ground, but it's not. It goes kind of like calf high on you. It's cold water, and it's a bit muddy at the bottom, and you kind of, oh, that's right. This land can actively try to kill me. So that's the process of what it is that you're facing. So, there's a roll
Cool.
that we would need to do
What
because
will I need to roll?
you are traversing the land, not following an established path. So the first roll, and I think you're going to be in good shape because of the hunting equipment, right? Is, as you've been describing all of this, I've been furiously trying to find the actual roll. I want to make certain I get this right, and I've somehow managed to have not found the correct roll. Isn't that ironic?
Investigation.
I believe it's investigation. So yes, you are definitely logicking your way through this. You're trying to follow their steps, and you're also trying to make certain that you don't.
Okay, I am gonna have to take another. I will, or wait, push. There's a button for that.
It's the big one down at the bottom.
Yep. Okay, I got a success.
Yes,
I am
you do.
back to being angry because some water went into my boot, and I'm like, I hope I can get this off of me before gangrene sets in.
Absolutely. So that's the couple of minutes that the camera lingers on Edward as you are successfully tracking the Jensens, and your read of where you are is accurate. You know that you will clear a hill that's on the map, and you know that after you clear that hill, it's a straight shot south going to the Moorland Society.
And I will, after definitely falling in, I'll be like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be trying to go right on their footsteps as much as possible. So it's probably going to take me a lot longer to get to them. But that's fine.
They're moving with the knowledge of the land, but
yeah,
fortunately you're able to follow them along, and your dexterity keeps you on the correct path. So
Yep.
you're cool.
And
there.
I am happy to take it a little bit longer just so they don't see me.
Absolutely.
Do it right the first time.
Mm. So we switch gears and we go to the other group that are making their way to Grimstead Hus. Sometime after Edvard leaves, the rest of you begin to see off in the distance a small settlement, about a dozen houses. Instead of the grass thatch that you're accustomed to in other cities, this is more of a heather thatched roof style of architecture. They are small homes. They are clustered around what looks like an old shepherd's trail. You see that for the most part, these are homes, but there is the occasional outhouse, storage barn, fenced in stable, etc. You were already told that the people of Grimstead Hus are mainly shepherds and peat diggers. As you approach the threshold to the village, you see some of these villagers. They are unsmiling. Uh, they are uh, they are the physical representation of what living here does to a person. They are hardy, but to a certain extent hopeless, and they look at you with suspicious eyes, but they also don't seem to be interested in engaging with you. They'll turn to look at you over their shoulder, and then they'll turn back to the people they're talking to and talk. There is a scrawny cow that seems to have a run of the place, as well as some sheep who are nibbling on someone's vegetable garden, as well as some of the local heather. There are a small group of very small, dirty children who seem to be very excited at the idea of strangers coming into town. And they all start to dart at you from where they were playing until a loud, shrill voice of probably a mother who says, "Get on back in here." And they stop and they look at you with, "Oh, you're new people." And then they realize that punishment is probably more severe than discovery. And so they retreat back to a local home. There are men sharpening scythes, and the stables, there is a woman who is cleaning the stables. Much like Jensine, a large and powerful woman. Everyone is more than welcome to roll for me an investigation check as you come to this village and have a look around. Okay,
Well, then,
you enter the village.
I would like to push that roll.
Ah,
One moment.
ah,
Nice.
there is a success. Fantastic. Ernst, you note in several places, both hanging from some of the utility buildings, but also hanging from homes, are small pagan idols. These pagan idols are tied together, so like a couple of different idols that are kind of tied together and hanging, and some of them have like twigs of plants or herbs or flowers tied with these idols. And your immediate reaction is that this is, of course, what you do to ward your home and your community against evil spirits.
I point this out to my compatriots. They are clearly warding against various and sundry things. Don't know how we're going to make any inroads here. They're not going to trust outsiders.
Tatiana is going to smile. Has she picked up any of the herbs that are woven into these things on her travel?
You mean what you picked up along the way? It's difficult to tell because a lot of these idols have been hanging and exposed for a while, and a lot of what's tied into them appear to have wilted and kind of shriveled up for a little bit. You suspect that maybe at some point some of the things that you picked up are what are in some of these idols. but what you have looks much nicer.
I'm going to ask a question, and it's not going to matter because of my conditions, but with my background, is there a way that my background and my history in Sweden, that I would have a guess of what types of herbs these might have been?
I mean, I don't know the kind of herbs that you're going to pick up along Grimstead Hus, but some of the herbs that are tied up in the bundles appear to be the kind of herbs that you would grow in an herb garden, and there are a number of gardens around here. So,
Okay.
some. I'm sure there's some thyme hiding in there, and there's some rosemary hiding in there.
Okay.
But there's not a lot of like diversity in the ecology of the land itself. I mean, as you look around, you can see that even though this is a very dour and challenging place to live, I mean, people still live here, and so there's a certain pride in the men who are sharpening their scythes, and there's a certain pride in the people who are taking care of the two horses that they have, and even the homes have a certain degree of pride. They're not like ramshackle and falling apart. This house has a nice herb garden. This house, somebody has spent time to really put in a nice stone place. This house has a nice selection of peonies and forget-me-not flowers in front of it.
I'll tell the group, I don't think we need to worry. These are just regular folks. We just need to show them that we're not scary. And any of the people that stare at us, I'll smile at them and wave. And any of the children that come close, I'll start juggling and like do a little like backflip or something.
These kids are just like at a window looking at you, just like, oh, that's so cool.
The circus has come
Yeah.
to town.
Yeah, just circus fun stuff, like any kind of like finger tricks, like, oh look, there goes my thumb. Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
So, Tatiana is going to grumble about this while smiling, but as we pass the houses, she's going to put a sprig of nettles by the door of 3 of the houses that have children, because burning nettles or sprinkling them around the room can protect a room or drive out evil spirits.
Cool. There's a I think the houses with the kids, like as you leave them at the door, and like one of the kids will say, like a little girl, she'll say, "Hi, you're very pretty."
Not as pretty as you. Does your mom know what to do with this?
Put it in a soup?
Make your room smell real pretty and keep the bad dreams away.
And she kind of looks over her shoulder, and then she like looks at you, and like she kind of puts her hand up.
I'd let mom touch this. This makes your hands all icky.
And then she like opens her hand, and her hand's covered in peat, basically dirt and stuff.
I'm just thinking of like stinging nettles. I don't want to hurt the child.
Oh,
I
right.
think this child has much rougher hands than you.
Yeah.
True.
So she like, pulls out she's got a little poppet, and she kind of takes the little hand sewn jacket off the poppet, puts the poppet back, and like is ready to receive the nettle with protected fingers.
Yep. So she'll offer it and give it straight to mom.
Okay, thank you.
She can teach you how to use it.
Thank you. And she darts away from the window.
Yep. That's fine. I can gather some more on the way to the tavern.
As the rest of you are walking through the center of the settlement, there doesn't seem to be anybody who's too terribly interested in striking up conversation. They don't seem to be moving from what they're doing, but you do get the sense
busy.
that they're watching you.
They're going about their day. They've got their own routine and stuff they got to get done before it gets dark.
Yep. So,
You heading for the main house or?
well, Tatiana, I think you are the most aware of everything.
Mhm.
You did see a house that has forget-me-nots and peonies is in the front.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
That's right.
So storyteller.
Yes.
There is a custom among witches, and I don't know if this is historically or regionally accurate, but there are some herbs that people will plant at the edge of your garden or the edge of your property
Mhm.
because they are meant to be stolen, because that is how they have the most power.
Ah. Not
Are
a
there?
not a practice here.
Okay,
Doesn't
perfect.
seem to be a practice here. Nope.
Okay, then I noticed these flowers. This would be a good place to inquire.
Yeah, these are the same ones that were on the grave.
Oh, I see.
So it is aside from the flowers and again a small charm hanging. It's a pretty nondescript home. Windows are shuttered. Door is there and closed.
I'll go right up to it and knock.
And there's a moment, and then you hear some very soft, muted footsteps that come to the door, and the door opens, and the the woman that you meet at first, she says as she opens the door, "No one ever comes to visit me. I wonder what's going on here. It's probably some of those rascal kids." And as she opens the door and it says "rascal kids," she sees you, Trish,
Yeah.
and
Good evening,
she says,
madam.
The
"Oh,
rascal kid.
oh,
The-
I don't know you. Who are you?"
Well, my name is Trish, and this is the lovely Tatiana, and this is Dr. Ernst.
Yes.
We
What's up?
apologize for coming by unannounced.
It's okay, Tatiana. Dr. Trish here was just telling me that you've come to meet me, I think.
Yes. We noticed your forget-me-nots. We were recently at the graveyard, and we're sorry for your loss.
And at the mention of her loss, she sort of kind of furrows her eyebrows a little bit and she says, "I haven't lost anything in a little while. Do you mean my flower? I assure you, I've not lost my flowers. I know that they're here."
Do you ever take flowers to the graveyard?
"Oh, oh, sometimes. Pay respect to the dead, yes.
Yes. Do you
You look
have
cold. You should come in." And she gestures to you enter what is a very simple one-room cottage. Small table, hearth, bed in the corner.
You are too kind. Thank you so much.
I don't get visitors much. I'm an old woman, you see. Not a lot left for someone like me to have a social life or anything. But what I
Oh,
have is yours. You're my guests. Come in, come in.
I'm sure you still have some years in you yet.
What
You
a
don't have
nice
any
thing
children or
for
grandchildren?
you. And she again starts to, "I had family once." And her face is stressing a bit. "I had family once. Yes, I visit them quite regularly. I take flowers to them. Yes, I do. Wonderful family. It's and
They don't come visit you?
well, my daughter doesn't No, no. I visit my daughter. I take flowers to her, but she can't
Oh,
visit me.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's complicated. And
Family relations usually are.
We are here
yeah.
because we believe that a great wrong has been done to you and your family, and we hope that we can, in some small way, do our part to right that wrong as best we can.
I don't know if that's even a thing. I don't feel wronged. I lived a good life, and my daughter is safe, I think. Maybe. Oh, oh, Dr. Tatiana, I don't know what wrong you're speaking of. I'm sorry. I'm not following. Would you like something to drink? As she's trying to be hospitable and
Does she seem like she's confused, or does she seem like she
oh,
just does
she's
not want to talk about this?
absolutely confused.
Okay.
She is
She seems
um
senile.
she seems, I guess that would be a good way to put it. She is definitely somebody who, you're doing an initial evaluation of the person you're looking at. This is she's lovely and she's smiling and she's sweet, but she's also probably in her 80s. But you can also see that she seems to be struggling with something that you suspect might be the death of her daughter and what's been going on, because there's clearly like grief on her face when she has to think about that.
Forgive me. And I pull out the picture of the girl from Sandman's journal. Is this your daughter?
And both of her hands go out, shaking. One hand for the journal and one hand for the picture. Do you let her take the journal?
I hesitate,
Mm-hmm.
but I do let her take it.
And she brings both of these artifacts closer to her, and her eyes immediately begin to well up with tears, and she begins crying. Oh, my poor Signy. My poor sweet Signy. Oh, my poor, my little girl. And she starts to shake more as she holds up and examines the journal, and she says, "Oh, oh, that black that black man with the pretty words and the pretty face. My poor Signy never had a chance. Oh, the memories of that evil man." And then she throws the journal to the ground and she says, "Oh, destroy that man. Destroy that man. Destroy that. Everything of him, everything that was about him, all his fancy words and his big ideas. Oh, get rid of him. Do it." And then she holds the picture back up and she puts her hand over her face and she says, "Do it for Signy. Oh, my daughter." And then she cries some more.
What he did to your daughter was reprehensible. And I hope I am not adding to your grief, but your grandson, his spirit is restless, and
And before you can finish that, she puts her hand out to find your wrist. And if you offer it, she takes it. And she looks up at you through the red eyes, tears running down. She says, "That child is out there looking for his mother. Oh, I think if you can help, get him back to his mom, I think they'll both find peace. I think you're right. He's out there looking for my little Signy."
We can reunite them. I give her hand a squeeze. We will do right by your Signy.
And she hands the picture back to you. "Thank you for this. When they found her, she was frozen, dead. This picture, it's replaced that image in my mind. But you should keep this. Remember her." And then she hands the picture back to you.
I take it.
And then she says, looking down at the journal, I don't know if you've picked it up off the floor yet or not.
Oh, I absolutely have.
She looks at it again and she says, "Outsiders say there's a devil on this moor. And the only devil was that Sandeman." And she puts her eyes back into her hands and weeps more.
While this conversation is going on, which one of us had the vision of the child?
No, very
That
much
was me.
Ernst.
Okay.
And he explained it. But
Yeah.
he had the vision.
Okay. Never mind. Okay. Could I try? Let me see. I'm going to use my superpower twice in one episode. Can I try to use automatic writing to see if I can draw a portrait of the child as he was while he was still alive? Is the child summonable or transable?
So that's a great question. And let's think about the idea about like where would be probably the most likely place to see if you could call forth the child. Or
Probably
what
the camp.
maybe the camp, right? So I think that I think Tatiana would be able to say, I can think of one place where we could probably find the child. Would be the camp.
I have a crystal ball.
You do have a crystal ball.
I don't know what it does though, and I can't even click it. Tell me what you do.
A crystal ball
It doesn't say what it does.
gives you one +1 to observation when you're searching for clues.
Oh my god! I could have been using that this whole time. I've been so stupid. Well, okay.
At least I've been using the items we bought.
Well, this one comes with my character. I've just had it stuck in my hat because I didn't know what to do with it.
You've been juggling it the whole time.
Oh my god, yes, absolutely. It's been one of my. It's like I have a couple of bean bags and then this crystal ball.
Yeah, it Ernst every time you just go.
I'm doing the David
that's
Bowie
very.
thing.
That looks delicate.
What's wrong?
At some point when you're juggling that crystal ball, you're gonna look through it the right way the first time and realize that all along this could have helped you. Wait a minute.
I've had it as long as I can remember. It's always been with me. I just thought it was like something my parents left with me. Oh my god, are you kidding me? All right, well, Now I know.
We learned a thing tonight.
Can I put this on my? Oh, I think I can. I can put this in my talent. I'm gonna put it on my talents so I can
There you go.
have it on that page.
Yeah. So, Trish, as you're discovering your crystal ball,
Yeah, I'm just sitting there in the corner, just like da 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 da.
mhm.
There's so much drama going on in this house. I'm really enjoying the show. Whoa. Let's see. Oh, I can't drag it into my talents. Can I put it in my mementos?
Yeah, you can put it in your inventory, and then you can.
It's in my inventory. It's just it's not on my main character sheet, which would be better for me, someone who's ADHD, to have the visual reminder that I have this thing here.
Maybe put it under memento.
Yeah, well, maybe I could just put a note there though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
notes.
that's the only thing I'm thinking about. Just because, like, you can have it in combat by equipping it so that it's there.
Oh, can I? Maybe I need to. Hold on.
I mean, or you just remember. I mean, you could put it into combat, so it's right there. But remember that when you click your observation, in this case, it was. I've already forgotten the +1. The +1 to observation, right? As you drag your pile of dice over, you can just hit right click once to add that one more die to it, to the pile.
Oh, you want me to go and use it? Is what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, when you use it. Yeah.
Observation.
I don't think he's calling for a roll right now, though.
No,
Oh, you're not.
no.
Okay, never
But
mind.
I am curious to see what Trish is doing as Trish is watching all of this. If there was something that Trish was interested in.
First of all, after he pulls out the photo and she starts to get weepy, I'm gonna like slap him on the shoulder and be like, "You made the old lady cry, asshole." But yeah, then as the show is happening and she's, confessing all these inner rage she clearly has, I'm just gonna be, I am gonna be sitting there and just like, huh? And you know what? Yeah, I will have the crystal ball out. And I will literally be doing like the David Bowie like ball juggling,
Sure.
chilling out.
Yeah.
Sure. So observation is about reading the room. So it's technically not what I want you to do, but I want you to roll observation anyway, so you can use your crystal ball. So it'll be fun.
I know.
Well, actually, reading the room does kind of make sense because you're looking at this woman and you're looking at that Ernst and stuff. So yeah, give that observation +1 a shot. Let's see what happens.
Nothing. I'm gonna push it.
All right.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Do I
So
just
there's the big push button underneath the dice tray, and it'll ask you
Okay.
for a condition.
Oh, I see. Pick
In this
condition.
case, it'll be a mental condition.
I'm gonna pick hopeless because if this doesn't work, I really will be quite
Mm.
hopeless. Oh, I'm so hopeless.
Oh.
Oh no.
Trish gets weepy themselves.
After a moment, the old mother, she kind of cleans herself up a bit and she says, "Thank you. Thank you for finding me. Thank you for offering the help. If you do, make things right. If you do go and visit my little Signy," and she takes a small, clearly the next batch of forget-me-nots from a small vase, and she says, "Please put these on Signy's grave."
Tatiana will walk forward to take the flowers with 2 hands and just kind of like bow her head as she takes them.
And looks back at you, Ernst, with a stern look. "Erase that evil man."
I'll punch him in the face for you. If he wasn't her boss.
I assure you, everything we do works to undo the harm that man has done.
I believe you. Thank you.
I am sorry for what has been done to your family, but I am glad we are able to grant you and yours some peace. Be well.
I will. Thank you all. As she looks at all of you.
All right, and we depart.
You do. Let's see here. We shift our scene to Edvard, who is working to keep pace and make your way back to the camp. And as you are making the last ascent up to the earthworks that represent the land that the camp is on, and of course, you have heard the pump and the water churning and such.
Yeah.
You come back up to the camp, and there's quite a ruckus going on. There are people kind of running around. People are looking in tents, and people are like checking the pipes that are pumping water. Let's see, which side of the camp are you coming from? So they're checking the pipes going away from you. They're supposed to taking water out of the bog and pumping it into the creek, and there's quite a tremendous amount of energy going on in the camp as you come on to it.
Okay. So just kind of lying down on the crest of the hill, I'll take out the binoculars to try to see if I can spot these hooligans and see if they're making their way into the camp, if they've already just caused some disruption in the camp and they're retreating.
Mm-hmm.
So that
you see in the middle of camp, on their knees, literally in the shadow of one Preben Rasmussen who is standing over them, berating them. You see the young Hans and Einar Jensen in the middle of camp, surrounded by some of the workers and Preben Rasmussen.
is their sister there?
That would be a vigilance check. See if you can spot her. You don't see her right away.
Okay.
There we go. It doesn't.
Wait.
Yeah.
That's the hurricane lamp. What was I doing?
I don't know.
I'm just gonna do the normal one.
Sure.
It's just a plus. It's just a +2.
Right. +2 for the binoculars. Yeah. Yeah. You don't put eyes on her. She doesn't seem to be in the camp though.
Okay. Cool. I will advance cautiously, but trying to remain hidden to try to find her.
Excellent. And you make your advance, and you are working what you think is to be quite stealthy, and you can continue your vigilance, watching around and looking. And as you finally get to the point where you're pretty much at the camp, there's no sign of her. And at this point in the program, the Jensen's boys have been bound. Their hands been bound, and there seems to be a number of workers who have now gathered with Preben Rasmussen. They seem to be looking like they're going somewhere.
Yeah, like as I get up to the camp and kind of look around and see that she's not around, I will kind of try to stop stalking and just kind of stand up in advance. Like I'm aware and then be like, Mr. Rasmussen, I see you caught 2 of the interlopers.
Ah, Mr. Scuglin, yes. These two we've long since suspected were responsible for sabotaging our camp, and sure enough, we find them skulking around, armed too. And he points to 2 of the men, and you can see one of them is holding the crossbow, and the other one's holding a musket. Their sister, though, is a formidable foe. Why, she kept 5 men off of her, and we simply had to let her go because she looks like the kind of person who could chop down a tree in one swing. But we'll get her later. We won't let these saboteurs, as he points with authority at the 2 Jensen boys. We'll not let these saboteurs. I'm going to march them right into the heart of that little village of theirs and tell them for the last time that there is nothing that is going to stop us from bringing this land to its fullest potential, out with old traditions, out with the devil, and in with the age of steam. We are going to cleanse this land and bring it to its fullest potential. You can almost get the sense like he's trying to workshop the speech right now out loud to you, and kind of thinking how you're reading, like how you're receiving this speech.
Deadpan. Utterly deadpan. He's like, yes. He's going to word it carefully. The bundle that you showed us earlier, it is still where we left it, right?
And he says, for another moment or two, I believe that young Mr. Ludvigsen was planning on transporting it off-site.
We will not be requiring that. That is, now he's going to lie his ass off. I'm lying my ass off here because I don't know what's going on. We have found a family that unfortunately fits the description of the child, and they would like it back, like the remains back, for a proper burial.
That's fantastic. One less thing that we have to worry about. I'll let Mr. Ludvigsen know. He's
right.
not even thinking about whether or not you're telling him. This sounds great to him. He loves this idea. And
Yeah,
as he's finishing up, and you turn towards the tent where you know the body is, a almost cascade of fog begins pouring out of that tent. It bursts the door. It starts to come out the underside of the tent, and that fog, it's that same thick fog as it begins to pour out. The workers that are nearby like see it and shout, "Not again," and begin to run from it. And you hear a scream, a high pitched, but not from a woman, but from a man, coming from the tent.
I run in.
Fantastic. You run towards the tent, maybe 3 meters, 4 meters. The front that had been pouring fog out completely explodes open as the large black bird comes rocketing out of it over your head within inches of you, leaving the tent.
Okay. I'll be like,
and if you don't do anything, it flies off.
Yeah,
and the people who see the bird just lose their minds and start running.
Yeah, and is the bird flying towards the graveyard again?
It flies off towards the north, towards the village.
Huh.
But also, the fog is now receding and not pouring out of the tent.
Right. Okay. Okay. After seeing it move towards the village and be like, well, I can't do jack squat about that. I rush into the tent just to check up on the guy who has hopefully not had a heart attack.
Well, when you come into the tent, the table has the tarp on it, but the tarp's been folded back, and there's no body there because you think the body has been wrapped up in a small, uh, a reused crate that was probably used to bring some tools or something. That this box is in the arms of Jens Ludvigsen, who is on the ground, as pale as a sheet of paper and not moving.
All right. I will go up to him and be like, Jens, and just like try to shake him or slap him to get him to wake up to see, or just to check to see if he's alive or dead.
As you get up to him, it's clear that he is covered in water, and when you touch his body, that water is unbearably cold. You shake him, and water pours out of his mouth. I'd like you to make a fear check, please.
Even though we've run into this before.
You have not run into this before.
Right. Damn, I should have taken that advance of like being able to get a bonus for dead bodies and crap.
Mm.
Come on. Oh,
Look
I got
at
two
that.
successes.
You did. You once again your training comes in, you're able to control your fear, and it is 100% clear that Ludvigsen has left this realm, as he has been seemingly frozen / drowned to death. But it also in your mind seems that he was messing with the body, and maybe he should not have at this point in the program.
Yeah. And everyone's like, poor man, didn't deserve this fate. And I'll close his eyes if they're open. And then I'm putting on a show, okay? Like, he seemed like an earnest man just trying to do his best.
Yeah, he's a man of science or something like that. Man of business, capitalist, whatever.
You hear over the sound of the engine, Preben Rasmussen at the tent. Jens, where are you? I think that our problem with the scout. What's happened here? What in the name? Jens! And he kind of pushes next to you and, touches the body and shakes it. Let's find out how he handles this. That's probably about right. Yeah, he's able to control his fear. What is this? What is this? And he looks to you, Edward. What does this mean?
Edward is like, hopefully, with the capture of the young of the friends, did you see the fog come out of the tent?
Of course, I saw the fog. We always see the fog.
Did you see anything else?
Look, I know about you people. I've spoken with Linnea. I know you have you can see them. I can't. So I tell the men stories. I tell the men excuses. It's just the wind that blows open the tent this time. Even though there was no wind, it was fog. What does this mean? It was here. The thing that you're here to deal with. It was here, right?
Yes, it was.
I trust you're on the right path. I trust you'll deal with it. I can deal with these locals.
Yeah.
Are you dealing with the thing?
Yes, that is actually one reason why I was interested, and I grab the box and I'll be like, these need to be put to rest.
I agree. Wait, you mean, is this part of it? If we put these bones to rest?
No. I look around and just like he nods and just like looks around and has anyone else seen this guy's tent? Guy in the tent?
No, most folks seem to be out shouting names. Like out into the bog. Some people are keeping
Right.
an eye on the Jensens. Some people seem to be going out looking for others who ran away when the fog poured out of the tent.
I do believe our friend here, after one too many of these strange occurrences, lost his wits and ran into the bog.
Hmm. Yes. Yes. I concur.
Do you need any help?
No, what will happen
Okay.
is we'll put his body here. The men know not to enter this tent. We'll
Very
put
good.
his body here. We'll put the tarp over it. I will have found it and brought it back later. Thank you. Thank you. That's
Very good.
You're solving many problems today.
It's sarcastic.
And he's a big guy. He's able to lift Jen's body up and put it on the table and cover it with the tarp that had previously.
And I'll help him where if it's needed. But as soon as like I know I'm not needed, I will be making my leave with the box.
You see him spend one moment. He puts his hand on the tarp, and for a brief moment, the facade of Preben Rasmussen, large, in charge man of progress, you get the sense that there was a connection that he had with him as he puts his hand on where the chest is, and he finally like takes his hand off and he sort of shakes it off and strides out of the tent, closes the doors behind it if you're following his lead, and then he strides over to the men who have the Jensen boys, and he says, "We're going to end this. We're going to take you back to your village and show the world that we will not suffer backward-mindedness saboteurs like you." And the boys are like, "Go to hell with you, Copenhager. Yeah, go to hell with you. Damn you and your damn machines. Yeah, damn you." And it's pretty much the same routine that these two have, yelling at each other so they can be heard over the machine that's chugging away in the background. All right. That switches us back to the village. So Ernst, Tatiana, and Trij. The original plan, of course, was once you were done was to make your way to the tavern. Do you do that? Is that where you're planning on going for your evening's rest?
Well, that's where Edvard would be expecting us to rendezvous, so we're going to stick to the plan.
Yeah.
Edvard, are you sticking to the plan?
Considering that the tavern is directly away And I think Edward has probably put enough pieces together for him to be like, this body is important. That grave is important. I don't want to take the body further away from the grave. That's some bad idea. So he is going to continue splitting the party and go towards the graveyard.
I feel like Tatiana was arguing to go to the graveyard,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just going to fall further and further behind Trish and the professor.
No. If Tatiana is starting to weary off of the path, Trish is like, Ernst, look, Tatiana. I think Tatiana, where are you going? Come back. What's going on?
Yeah, there are safety in numbers. Stay together.
You're not coming with us?
I feel called to the cemetery.
Come on, Ernst. She's got great intuition. Let's go. Come on.
We
It was the player, that was not the character.
I think a little metagaming is justified.
I'll trust your intuition. I worry that we'll be caught out past dark, but I trust you.
Of course you do. And I'll grab him by his sleeve and start following Tati. Wait up, Tati. Here we come.
Yeah, go ahead, Tatiana.
Tatiana will hand them each a stinging nettle leaf for protection.
Fantastic.
Not thinking about, the tactile consequences of this, just the protection.
Excellent. The trio of you begin the 2.5-3 kilometer trek back towards the cemetery. Ernst, I think your sense of like, is this the right call, is sort of I don't know if it's alleviated or not, because in a few minutes it's quite noticeable. It's not hiding. It's quite large. This black bird that has been at various different times making itself known to everybody comes from across the bog, and is making a curved change in its trajectory, and begins to settle in a very slow, effortless flight, gliding, to a certain extent, kind of pacing the group as you are making your way back to the cemetery. It seems to be keeping at distance. It seems to be, dare I say, escorting you back to the cemetery, but you don't feel any fear, and you don't see anything that would suggest that the bird is threatening you or your group.
It appears your instincts were correct, Tatiana.
So both parties begin to make their way towards the plagued cemetery, and again, it takes some time to traverse the kilometers. Edvard carrying a small box with an important package, and Ernst, Trish, and Tatiana under the watchful gaze of this large black bird that they have encountered over the last couple of days. As the sun sets, the shadows lengthen, and the temperature drops, the walk gives you some comfort, being active and the like. Edvard is at the cemetery probably some minutes before the other party.
Yeah, I think Edward was moving as fast as possible with he picked up a shovel during the time, just so that we could bury this thing and get it all figured out.
Do you begin the process, or do you hope that the others will show up?
Actually, no, he starts the process because last he heard they were going back, and he's like, yeah, let's get this started. So
Okay.
he's digging.
So, Edvard, you begin the process of digging into this grave, and this is probably not the first time that a soldier has had to do something like this before. It feels familiar, but this time the actual purpose is potentially unique.
He has some thoughts about it.
He does have some thoughts about it. Absolutely. It is, even though you haven't had to have done this before, yes, I think Edvard has some strong connections to this. This is some strong connections, and maybe an idea crops up into Edvard's mind about what he'll do once he returns back to Uppsala.
Definitely.
The digging is as one expects. It is a difficult dirt to dig through for a difficult region. The Plague Cemetery seems to have been chosen because of its distance topographically above the wetlands, so that people can come out here and bury and pay their respects without having to be knee deep in marsh. And sometime into the digging, you hear the arrival of your three fellow investigators. You arrive at the graveyard, Ernst, Trish, Tatiana, to see Edvard in a rapidly dimming light as the sun continues to set. You see him
Yeah.
waist deep digging into the ground.
What's he digging out there, you guys?
I have
Got
my
like a little
lantern out.
box.
It looks like Edward has. It looks like Edward has anticipated what we would need to do here.
Oh, good.
We should
Well, that saves some time.
join him.
Tatiana is going to call out in Russian and see if her dog comes to help dig, because she knows her hands aren't as useful as her dog's paws are.
Always a good dog. They come in and begin the furious digging. Some of the dirt flies out of the graveyard, a grave site. Some of the dirt just kind of is loosened and falls at Edward's feet, allows him to dig it out. I don't know. You know, Edward, you've got to kind of negotiate around this dog. I don't know how much this dog's actually helping, but I mean, they're a good dog.
It's appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thought that counts. Are there any other shovels, or is it just there was just the one shovel?
I think that, well, so I've described the graveyard before. You didn't see a shovel anywhere around, but I think, Trish, if you look around, you might be able to MacGyver something together if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanna help out. So
Yeah.
if I can find a shovel, and if I can't find a shovel, I've got two perfectly good paws right here.
Right?
Right.
Tatiana will ask Ernst if would you help me gather bouquets for the mother and son, so when we lay them to rest?
Yes, of course. And we also do, if I'm remembering correctly, have the flowers that grandmother gave us. So, yeah, keep those, and I will help gather the things that Tatiana needs as well.
Yeah, she's looking to make bouquets out of the natural growth around the cemetery. So like the heather, the dried grasses, things like that, to match with the forget-me-nots, because I don't think there were enough for two bouquets, but if they can make two kind of embodying the landscape that they're in to share for the mother and son or child.
And maybe there's some like wild growing flowers nearby,
So
some dandelions.
whatever is available, this area, of course, is a little off away from the actual bog. It's a little bit sturdier ground. Some plants and some not certain flowers, but definitely some plants that help add some green and some body to the bouquets that you took from
I can think of
the
a ton
husk.
of natural growing like flowers that would grow on a swamp, but that's for the southwest of America, not for Sweden. I'm sure they've got some common flowers.
Edvard is
grow.
digging. Trish finds a sturdy enough cross. Excuse me, you're not using this. Uses the wood, the long part of the cross to kind of
Yeah.
loosen the soil. Tatiana and Ernst are collecting what looks like nice additions for the bouquet under the watchful gaze of the large black bird that has once again settled down on a gravestone, watching this procession. Again, the green eyes, certain amount of it just seems to fall out of the sockets. It's kind of an eerie sight, but the bird seems content to allow you with your process. And
I think that like Trish is probably keeping an eye on the bird just because they've already established they're terrified of this thing.
absolutely.
Just like maybe they'll look over their shoulder every now and again.
Yeah. Edvard, you have a lamp,
yeah,
don't you?
Edvard hasn't seen.
Yeah, I do have a lamp. And
Okay.
I would have, like, as it
Look at
got
our
darker,
friend.
I would have turned it on and.
So yeah, you continue to work under the hurricane lamp. Sorry, Trish, go ahead.
I'll point the bird out to Edvard. Like, Edvard, look, see him up there in the tree? He's watching us.
I think that's the mother.
You think the bird is the mom?
Well, that's a guess, but yeah.
How do you know it's not the kid? Or like as they say out here, the devil.
I don't think it's the devil.
I don't think it's the devil too.
Yeah, and I don't think it's.
He's probably just hungry.
The pleasant conversation takes your mind off the work, and as it is now dark, your shovel finally thunk hits wood about 4.5, 5 feet down.
So
You
shallow.
and Trish begin the process of clearing off the remaining dirt that's on top of the lid. The coffin lid is not, it's not a lid. It's a series of planks that are just laid next to each other and nailed to a box. It's a very common coffin, if you will. But it has held up over the years. It has not collapsed in on itself, does not appear to be rotting in any particularly fast manner. It's done its service for these last several decades.
Edvard, Trish, if you would pause a moment.
What's up?
Okay.
And Tatiana is going to speak a couple of words and then speak some words once they've finished burying. And for our audience, this is Elegy for a Dead Witch by Doreen Valiente. To think that you are gone over the crest of the hills as the moon passes from her fullness, riding the sky, and the white mare took you with her. To think that we will wait another life to drink wine from the horns and leap from the fire.
Trish has their hat over their heart.
Yeah, and she'll just kind of nod when she reaches that midpoint in the poem.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So Edvard opens the casket.
Edvard, when you open the casket, before your eyes have an opportunity to adjust as you, I think, reach for the lantern to look inside, a bright white light, but not blinding, but definitely catches you off guard, erupts out of the coffin. It's a singular shaft of light. It doesn't expand out. This column of light comes out of the coffin, and in that moment, you turn your eyes away. Trish, you're there too. I think this light illuminates the graveyard and catches Ernst and Tatiana's attention. And as the light fades, there is a round-cheeked woman crying at the head of the grave that you have exhumed. You recognize her from the photo from Sandeman's journal. This is Signy.
Trish is taken aback by this and just kind of like falls to the ground and is like kind of backing up, you know.
Yeah, Edvard is a little like looks that the bird is still there too.
The bird is there watching.
Okay.
Tatiana curtsies and forgive our tardiness, my lady. We wanted to put this to rights far sooner.
And then Edvard opens the box to grab the contents. Gently and tenderly, like a lot more tenderly than you would think a soldier would. It seems more like how a father would.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The contents of the child are laid in the coffin now. Your eyes have adjusted. You can see that there is the skeleton of a woman, what remains of the clothing that she was buried with in rags, and a few common trinkets that have been laid to rest with her. As you place the body of the child next to the body of the mother, the bird raises itself up and extends its wings, and it disintegrates into what looks like a small pile that's falling through the air of black feathers. And when that pile of black feathers, because the bird was on a tombstone watching this, and when the black feathers hit the ground, they sort of fall away as if it's a liquid, and the feathers spread out, but then they come back in together and rise back up 3 feet or so, and then fall away into nothing again, leaving in its path, leaving in its wake, a small child. It is clearly a child that had been drowned in a bog. The body is bloated, somewhat distended in its belly, somewhat disfigured, but it is a child nonetheless. Toddler, a little larger than a toddler ought to be, however. But again, the eyes empty except for pools of green light that float in them. And you hear from above you, Edvard, because I still think you're in the grave, and everybody else hears this too. Signy's spirit reaches out and says, "My child." And the child looks at Ernst.
Ernst, at this point, takes out Sandeman's journal and lays it on the ground. I look at both mother and child, and I tell them, I promise you, we are erasing that man's legacy, and I am going to open up the side of the lantern to expose the flame. I'm going to pick up the book again and hold it in the flame until it catches.
The child walks towards the mother. And for a moment, Trish and Edvard, because I think you're the closest, you're afraid the child's going to fall in the hole, the grave, but it does not. It simply walks across the open space. It walks up to its mother. and it raises its arms. Spirit of Signy bends over and picks up the child and holds it close to her. Again, tears, the same ones, Ernst, you saw in your vision of a mother who has lived a desperate life, but has found that what she has lost is back in her arms. And while several decades too late, a sense of closure as the pages burn. And Ernst, talk to us about the conflict that I'm sure you're feeling at the moment.
So Ernst is watching the pages burn, and he's read through that journal. He knows that there are notes in there about Vaesen that could be used by the society, could be used to materially undo some of the damage that Sandman has done. And as he watches that opportunity burn away, he takes a small comfort in the fact that in doing this, we are righting a much more immediate wrong. There will be other opportunities to research. There will be other opportunities to learn. What's important to Ernst right now is that this mother and this child are brought to rest.
Not to be presumptuous, but I think it's probably clear, probably for Edward and Trish, that it's time to reverse the steps, put the planks back on the coffin, and begin the burial process.
Yeah, I'll start doing that very gingerly.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do it like teamwork, just like handing stuff to each other and like placing the planks gently. Probably don't have any kind of like tacks or nails or anything, so we're just laying them right on top.
Yeah, and Edvard like kind of sniffs, rubs his eye a little bit, trying to hide something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, and
He's just trying to act very macho as well, just like, oh, it must be raining outside.
It's a good day for rain.
It's a good day for rain.
As they bury, Tatiana is going to speak the second half of the poem. Farewell from this world, but not from the circle. That place that is between the worlds shall hold return in due time. Nothing is lost. The half of a fruit from the tree of Avalon shall be our reminder among the fallen leaves. This life treads underfoot. Let the rain weep. Waken in sunlight from the realms of sleep.
With each handful and shovelful of dirt, it's difficult to tell immediately, but over time you recognize that as you progress in your task, Signy and the child fade more and more from your view. When the last shovelful of dirt is patted into place, the last flowers laid down, the spirits are gone, and the light that was emanating from Signy also extinguished. Several days later, in the city of Copenhagen, we find our investigators. They're exiting from a church. Church bells are ringing. The people who are exiting dressed clearly for a somber ceremony. Striding alongside them powerfully is the recognizable form of Preben Rasmussen, and he turns to the group and he says, "It was very nice of you. It was very good of you to come to pay respect to Mr. Ludvigsen. I know that he would have appreciated. I know that his family appreciated, and I appreciate you and everything that you've done. What are your plans now?"
We're gonna get paid still, right?
Of course, of course. You will receive whatever payment it was that we had agreed upon when I was communicating with Liana. Absolutely. You've done a splendid job. I highly recommend you.
Good.
Well,
Hoping to
Mr.
put-
Rasmussen, a
yes, of
word before we leave, if I may.
course.
We may have dealt with the supernatural here and cleared that out of your way, but before you return to the moors, I advise you to pay attention to some of the more mundane concerns. The Jensen siblings, their actions were not just in a vacuum. They do not exist isolated from everything else. You have ignored the people you are claiming to help, and that will do you a disservice if you continue this work.
Yes, I see. Well, considering the number of men I've lost recently due to this, what did you call it, a miling? Yes, I have been ignoring them. I think that it's time to bring them into the fold, and instead of beating the science over their heads, I'll bring them in and emerge them with it. I have plenty of spots for them to work. They're able-handed people. We can always use some extra hands around the site. You're right. Maybe going after the Jensens the way I did was the wrong way. Maybe if I just had them there and got them involved, and they could see the progress and why even guarantee them some of the land to work? Yeah, that sounds like a splendid job. And yeah, of course. Of course, this all wouldn't have been possible without you helping us clear out the real issue and make our progress that much more achievable, working together with them to transform the land. What a great story they can tell their children and their grandchildren. Thank you, Mr. Magnuson. I hadn't thought about that before. Well, if there's anything else anybody needs.
Yes, there
This is
is.
Tatiana. Yes.
I wish to warn you that the land has spoken against you and what you are doing here in very strong ways. I understand that you wish to move progress, but as opposed to pressing the locals into service, I encourage you to listen to them. There is a curse that is sweeping around the globe called Doctrine of Discovery right now, which encourages men to think of their progress over the people that they are working with.
You see, I think that's where maybe I will side with Mr. Magnuson on this, as involving the people in the progress, involving the people to reap the benefits of that progress. It's if we share that discovery with everyone, I think that is going to help alleviate this doctrine. I know of what you speak, and the people who are being helped, I must implore. I don't know how they do things up north in Sweden, but here we don't have the benefit of a sea to protect us from our neighbors. Oh no, you look at
Sir,
what's
I
going
think
on in
that- I
France
think that
and
if you gave,
yes,
I think that if you listened to the people who have lived here
yes,
longer than you have been breathing,
sure.
if you put that much energy into listening as you do to speaking, you could learn something.
I wholeheartedly agreed. When I heard the voices of those people who are worried about what happens if the Prussians come back through again. Why, there are some people there in the Grimstead Ling who remember the Prussians and hate them. And if I could, yes, I listen to them more and be able to say that what we're doing will be able to protect us from our neighbors to ensure our, I think, yes, this has been quite enlightening. I'll make certain that
Tatiana's
You really like the sound of your own voice, don't you?
Tatiana's going to smile and be like, I would like to encourage my mother's people to come and visit and help you. Would you
Mm.
encourage more able bodies to help you in this process?
Oh no, I think that there are plenty of people at Grimstead Huss. I have to see if what you say about listening to and trusting the people is true. I have to go to them first. So thank you, but no, I don't think we need any help. I think we can definitely do this. Denmark for Denmark, so to speak, as they say in the political circles. Thank you all
course.
very much.
I
and
will still have my mother's people visit you.
That's
And
that's
she's just going to
fantastic.
walk away.
Sounds like a
Nope.
threat. I'm gonna tell my mom on you.
He he reaches out to shake the hands of the people who are still there to shake hands with, and he strides off, a spring in his step to the carriage that waits for him.
That man has learned absolutely nothing.
Not sure. He sure did
Tatiana
reiterate
is
a lot of the same thing.
fuming.
Yeah. I'm not sure if anything was solved here except for reuniting that kid with his mom.
Who knows?
I mean, I
Well-
guess the people are just gonna have to stand up for themselves if they're really against this.
Who
If
knows,
he tries
maybe-
to bring in the Jensen brothers, I'm sure that will be most amusing, and
Are we
perhaps it will finally be educational for Mr.
Someone.
Rasmussen.
Someone's gonna learn something, that's for sure.
No.
Oh. Regardless, we have done some good here, and I think we can go back to Uppsala with our hearts a little lighter. Can't change human foolishness, but we did lay that mother and child to rest.
I'm just wondering if they'll disturb any other spirits. I mean, if they did one, surely there's more buried under the mud. I mean, that place is thousands of years old. People have been living here for a long time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm sure they will, and I'm sure they will pay the price.
You think he'll call us back if there's more issues?
Tatiana is
Probably.
going to smile and be like, I certainly hope so.
And that feels like the feel-good 80s freeze frame moment as
It
the
really does.
as
Love it.
the investigators make their way for their carriage for the trip back to Sweden, having successfully solved the mystery of the devil on the moor. I'd like to take a moment to thank everybody who's joined us. Because I like to get the program started early, we don't do the introductions at the beginning, but we'll do the introductions at the end. It's great for you to be watching us through these first 4 episodes. And after the introductions, we'll talk about what's happening in the very near future. So I want to start, I don't know, maybe I'll start over here and we'll say hi to Sam. Sam, say hi. What do you do?
Hi,
What do you do
I'm
in the world?
Sam. Sometimes I draw, but most of the time I just entertain my 2 cats.
Fantastic. And we'll just keep going in a circle down to Jerry.
All right, hi. I'm Jerry. In my day job, I am a math and science teacher.
That's cool.
We'll round the horn to Rin.
Hi, I write adventure fantasy, run RPGs, and in my day job, I am the HR person encouraging you to be a better human.
Excellent. And then finishing our circle, we go to Quinn.
Hi, I'm Quinn. I play games, and during my day job, I work in an accounting department where I need to be told to be a good person.
As long as you're willing to learn, it's all good.
There you
Yeah.
go. As long as your mind is more open than that guy we were just talking to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were never gonna reach Freeman.
No.
No. Progress happened.
Yeah. He definitely the mind of a capitalist. How
Mm.
can I make
Yeah.
money off of this? Ha! Get the
I
community
was half
involved.
tempted to write a letter to the 3 siblings to be all like, hey, he's gonna bug you, you know.
Yeah.
Accidents happen on the Moor.
I mean, nothing's stopping Edward from writing that letter. Just let me know if Edward sends it.
Yeah. I mean, if I kind of feel like we should ask them if they would like our assistance, but I don't know how y'all feel about working for free, which is probably what it would be.
Yeah, probably.
And
And I'm Curry. I am your master of mysteries. My day job, I'm a high school instructor as well. And I want to thank all of you for watching, and I want to thank all of my players for playing. We are going to kind of stay in the theme of the Seasons of Mysteries from the Free League supplement, Seasons of Mystery for Vaesen. So we'll be dropping new episodes on the winter solstice as we move forward to A Winter's Tale. But that doesn't mean that we won't be doing things in the meantime. We'll definitely put together something along the lines of maybe I will sit down with one of our players and we'll do a quick little Q&A with folks or something like that. So kind of be on the lookout. Make certain that you are following 503RPG on Twitter and visiting 503rpg.com for updates in the blog and on our calendar. So thanks everybody for watching, and enjoy the rest of autumn, and we'll be back with our new mystery at the beginning of winter.